In this video, I will be showing you how you can play Star Wars Hunters on PC right now. Before we do get into this tutorial, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future Star Wars Hunters videos. You probably have a lot of questions right now like, when did this game release? What platforms is it on? And more. So I will answer them right now because it's important to know. The game was announced to release on Android, iOS and the Nintendo Switch, with a gradual rollout in various countries on Android. This began over 2 years ago and more countries have been added along with iOS devices. The worldwide launch date for all countries and the Nintendo Switch has not been announced just yet. However, you are now able to emulate it easily on PC. Currently, if you have an Android or iOS device, you can play it in France, Italy, Sweden, the Philippines, Indonesia, Brazil, Mexico, Malaysia, Austria, New Zealand, Australia, Norway, Finland, Denmark, and India. However, if you are like me and not from any of those countries, you can play the game directly on your PC right now using an emulator. To get started, head to the description of this video, and there will be a link titled Download BlueStacks. Click the link, and then you'll be taken to this webpage. Make sure you hit download next to the Android 11 64-bit version. This is the specific version that you need for the game to run. When it has downloaded, open it, and you'll be greeted with this screen. You can click Customize Installation to choose where you want it installing, but I just left it at the default. Then it will take a few minutes to install. Once it has installed, it will look like this, and you want to go ahead to Settings, the little cog icon on the right hand side, hit Preferences, and then you can toggle off ads using this setting. Make sure you save it, because the ads are a bit distracting. Next, you're going to want to go back to this video description and click the link where it says Download Star Wars Hunters APK. You'll see this web page once you've clicked it, and then just hit the big green download button, and this is how you update the game as well. So when the game does get a new update, you'll have to head over to this page once again and download the latest version when it has been uploaded. When the game has downloaded, click this button which says APK on the right sidebar, and then it will bring up this menu where you can then select the APK that you downloaded for Star Wars Hunters, let it install, and the game is now installed on your PC. Emulation does require quite a bit of computing power, so if you do have a good PC, I'd recommend going into Settings once again and changing the CPU allocation to something higher than 4 cores. For example, I've selected 8. You also have the ability to select the memory allocation. I chose 12, and you can also turn on the FPS count if you wish to do so when you want to play the game. You will also need to visit the graphics settings within the settings menu, and you'll need to make sure that the graphics renderer is OpenGL, interface renderer is software, and the ASTC textures is disabled. To use your controller in Star Wars Hunters, you'll need to make sure that it is wirelessly connected to your computer or plugged in, and then go to the gamepad settings and make sure it has gamepad detection enabled. You can now go ahead and launch the game for the first time. You'll be greeted with the startup logos, and then an intro cinematic, but you can just skip it, and then it will ask you to sign in. If you don't already have a Hunters account, you'll create one here, but for me, this is where I signed in with my account that I already had. You just type in your email, you have to put in your age, then you'll get a code sent to your email to allow you to actually access your account. So that is how you will sign in. After that, you'll be able to access the menus of Star Wars Hunters and get playing. It is simple, however, there are a couple of issues that you will need to be aware of, and I will provide fixes for them here. Sometimes you will launch the game, and the gameplay in the background behind the menus will be just a black screen. There are a couple of ways to fix this. Simply just keep reopening the game until it does do this, or go into the graphics settings, change the renderer to Vulkan, save, restart, and then change it back to OpenGL. This should work, but it doesn't work all the time. It's a little bit hit and miss, unfortunately, but it will eventually work. Another thing of note is that your controller sometimes will not work in-game. You'll have to disable and re-enable your controller in the settings of BlueStacks. You may have to launch the game again or restart BlueStacks entirely for this to work, but eventually your controller will work again. It is frustrating and inconsistent, but when it does work, it works pretty well. Star Wars Hunters has received some big updates this year with a bunch of content. It has ongoing battle passes, events and more, and I would definitely recommend checking it out because there are a lack of live service Star Wars games right now, and this is the one that I think appeals to the audience that used to play Battlefront. It is simple, it is a mobile game, there are microtransactions, however, you can still play the game without spending any money. I haven't spent any money on it. There are some really cool cosmetics that have been created for this game that unfortunately are easier to obtain with microtransactions, so do keep that in mind. However, it's still worth checking out for yourself, seeing what you like about this game, what you don't, and if it's worth putting time into. I found that the matches don't last very long, which is cool, so if you do want to play on your mobile, you can just install the APK in a very similar way to what I've done in this video, but just on your Android phone. I just wouldn't recommend using touchscreen controls. Always have a Bluetooth enabled controller to pair with your phone so you can play it with this game. It makes the experience far better and definitely worth checking out. It's a bit of fun, shorter games, some cool cosmetics, some familiar abilities to Battlefront but also some brand new ones. The game is set to launch before spring worldwide. It has been delayed a couple of times, so hopefully it doesn't get delayed again, and we can all be playing it without having the need to do a bunch of workarounds. Let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, and if you enjoyed this video and it helped you, please do drop a like to help support the channel, subscribe so you don't miss any future Star Wars Hunters videos. If you missed any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.